verk. For du viser jo ikke frem noe som du ikke selv syns bra, gjør du det?
No, I mean, I tror that for all of the production you're not supposed to smoke on television.
It's not television, it's my laptop.
Listen, there'll be millions of people watching this, and they'll all be turned on to cigarettes because of your filthy, dirty habit.
Who do you think sponsored this one? I'm a smart fox, you know.
Listen, you're telling me if art is dangerous, and here you are trying to kill those 3 people with your cigarette smoke.
Men litt grann om kunstens rolle I dag. Du regnes av mange. Jeg tror du ganske kontroversiell. Noen regner deg som nærmest geni, og andre synes du ganske banal. Har jeg lest. Jeg kan ikke bedømme det. Men jeg tror ikke du banal. Men du regnes som en av de største nålevende norske monumentalkunstnere, har jeg sett noen steder. Du har også sagt noe om hvordan skifte av hva monumentalkunst I dag I forhold til hva var det før. Altså Vigelandsanlegget kunne ikke vært lavet I dag. Det ville sett ut som en vits, kanskje. Du har sagt noe som at vår tids kraftstasjoner vår tids monumenter.
Ja.
Hva mener du med det? Vil du speile noe av industri, av slit, har du en politisk mening med det du gjør?
Well, that's often is part of the work, but I think that there's 2 things here, and I think what one has to be very careful of is that one remembers the difference between monumentality and the monument.
Yeah.
If we talk about the monument first, is what always interested me about the monument was the idea is you might have a lump of stone or a bronze statue or a whole series of statues or massive things. For example, First World War monuments, which in themselves are really very little indeed, but what they do is the way they function is they have this click for a memory of something. It's like a gravestone. I mean, a gravestone in a graveyard is like it has somebody's name on it, and to most people it's a list of strange names. We all often wander through graveyards, but to the family of the person beneath the grave, that headstone, that anonymous lump of stone somehow is a link which tells them about what is lying under there. No, in fact, not what is lying under there. The person that once was alive and well and active, and you have a memory, so you can link. So monuments are not about their physical mass, they're about memories. And I think that's interesting when you use so much physical mass, like especially, for example, First World War monuments, and it's all about this sort of idea of memory, and it's the work, the thing is there, but the ideas are there. Or the viewer is here, the thing is there, and the real language, the real discourse goes on in the middle. And that interests me a great deal. If we go to monumentality, I think then you're talking to do things with lot to do with scale, to do with size, to do with the visual kapow of stuff. And I just think, I mean, when I was talking about Kraftwerk, electric pumping stations, it's just to do with the idea that somehow that you've got these buildings or these edifices which are purely functional in a way, which have a fantastic visuality or presence. And as a sculptor, in a way that language of presence of things interests me enormously, because I think if I have one criticism of a lot of my colleagues, artists, is they don't use visuality because it's such a rich area of our armory, of our weapons as artists, that visuality is the most wonderful thing you could ever play with, because you can move, you can groove, you can do so much with the sheer physical presence of something. You know, in the 1970s, this was called, in the minimalist period of the 1970s, this was called being theatrical. And I've always loved the idea of being theatrical. I've always loved the theatre in art, because that is the thing that gives you the, wow, I don't understand it, I don't know what the fuck it's doing, I don't know what's happening, but wow, look at it. And I think that is such an important language, or an important element of the language. And it's something that I try to use as much as possible.
Men det vil også si at du vil gjerne fortelle en historie når du lager noe. Altså det ikke ren dekorasjonsting. Det skal stå,
I
står jo
don't-
i det offentlige rom.
Yeah.
Det er akkurat som et hus, ikke sant? Det er som arkitektur.
Yeah, I mean, artist decoration is just boring. I mean, you go and buy wallpaper for that, or you buy a sofa for decoration, or you get what are these things called? Women. They're good for decoration.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Sorry, I'm going to be in deep shit now. But art is more vital than just decoration. It's got to be that.
Ja. Men hvor viktig er det? Hvor viktig er kunstens rolle i samfunnet i dag? Når du snakker om det visuelle, så er jo alt visuelt i dag. Altså TV, reklame, aviser, blader, bilder spiller jo en voldsomt stor rolle. Er det vanskelig for kunsten å slippe til? Er det vanskeligere i dag enn det var før? Var man ikke mer alene på arenaen tidligere?
No, because you remember that wonderful stuff which still exists sadly called Muzak, where every shoplift whatever is filled in with sound, which was allegedly music. And of course it's nothing to do with music. No. It's just noise in the background. Or noise in the foreground. I mean, in terms of the way we live our lives, there's a huge amount of visual noise. You can call it, what we call it, art zack.
Yeah, art zack.
And there's lots of this crap around. But it's perhaps artists' role to make things which are visually much more precise, that in fact can cut away the art zack, the equivalent of Muzak, and actually come with something which is a lot clearer or a lot more important or just a lot more powerful than the everyday visual crap that's around us.
Men jeg mener, du konkurrerer jo, la oss si fisken som vi skal ha på veggen her nå, når den skal lyse her. Greit, jeg kan godt finne en symbolikk i den, og det har vært skrevet om det etter fisken på Slottsfjellsårene, at det ikke bare er noe provokasjon, at det er en mening, og at du er bevisst hva man har gjort, at munnen er ned og ikke opp, at den skal ned i pipa og ned til mennesker og fortelle dem noe. Men du må jo konkurrere. Altså, la oss nå si Michael O'Donnell, hvis jeg hadde en liten bar inni her, hadde en hamburgerbar og hadde McDonald's-skiltet ved siden av Michael O'Donnells skilt. Hva er forskjellen på den kommersielle neonreklamen og en skulptur på veggen?
It's a very tight line between the two, of course. I mean, as soon as one puts up a piece like this on the wall, you actually are looking at something which takes on the language of signs or skilt i byen. But of course, a skilt or a sign in a town will sell a product. It will tell its specific story about the product. This fish, it's about a specific thing, like a fish, but it's not actually selling fish.
No.
It's not talking about buying fishing equipment. It doesn't relate, so immediately you get this thing and thinking, what the hell is that bloody fish doing there? But I have a feeling that this is not going to really look like a fish at night. What it's going to look like is some pulsating red heart. And in fact, what will happen is the courtyard that's filling up beneath the fish will look more like the forecourt of a whorehouse than anything else.
And it won't look like a hamburger. We had just outside
a fish burger, you mean?
I mean a fish burger, of course. But we had a very large hamburger on a pole outside the Kjelle some years ago, and in the beginning, so demanded to have it down. Mye av det du har skapt av kunst har vel skapt diskusjoner, og det vil du vel gjerne også kanskje, for hvis folk sovner av det du laver, så er det jo ikke noe særlig hensikt. Men hvor vil du plassere deg inn i et bilde? Vi liker så godt å sette folk i båser. Er du en surrealist?
I don't think so. I actually have no idea with that placing. I mean, I would hope that in a sense, that wherever I am, I'm continually shifting.
Yeah.
So that, in a way, that typecasting or placing doesn't actually come. I think I'm being slightly naive, because I think people can and will place me in certain areas. I don't think that's my job to do so, but you know, unfortunately, some people call me the light man. You're the man who makes the light work. And in fact, it's only one small part of my activities, working with these light pieces. And